This is the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose, where I strategize with business owners on how to grow and scale their businesses to hit their income goals. This is episode 400 of the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose. Today, we're going to make it super simple. We're talking about what to put in an email subject line. If you listened in a couple weeks ago, I spoke about website visibility and how to go about increasing it. And the last nugget of information I left you with was to grow your email list. Well, one of the questions that I get a lot of times from people is, okay, I'm growing an email list, but what do I do with it? And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to discover how to maximize open rates and engagement by understanding what to put in an email subject line that grabs attention and drives action. Now, today we're focusing on the email subject line. We're going to continue to talk about emails that you can send and the sequences that you can send. But today we're just going to focus on that email subject line because that can often hold people up. It is only so many characters that you want to use for that. So when we're looking at this, an email subject line is simply the first piece of what someone will see in their inbox. Couple words, and you have to be able to get their attention in order for them to open it. So the first question that I often get asked is, how can I make my subject line attention grabbing? And the way in which you're going to do this is I want you to focus on the problem that you are going to solve within that email. And the email that you are sending, we've talked about this in the past, should be short and sweet. It does not need to be multiple paragraphs. When I write an email, it normally will have 3 to 5 sentences and then have a call to action to find out more. That is the purpose of your email list. It's to get people to continue to gain new information on the topics that you provide them with by solving them for them. So when you are thinking about that attention grabbing subject line, what is the pain point that you are going to solve in the email? And when you know that, you can then create your subject line so that it pulls at that, okay? When we were thinking about this, a perfect example I could give you is if I was going to send you to this particular podcast episode, which talks about what to put in an email subject line, I would write something along the lines of struggling with what to write or struggling with your subject lines. It's normally going to be that pain point that they have that, again, once I send them to the content, it's going to answer it for them. So the next question that many people ask is, how can I make my subject line relevant to the content of the email? Well, we just talked a little bit about that, right? We talked about the fact that you are going to ask a question that you are then going to answer by hitting on the pain point within that subject line. So really start to dive into thinking about what are the questions that I can ask. So if I'm a food blogger and I've created a chicken parm recipe, I may want to put a subject line that says looking for a traditional chicken parm or looking for a quick chicken parm, or depending again upon who your audience is, are you looking for my secret ingredient for chicken parm? Okay, you want it to be a question that's going to pull at them and they're going to want to open it in order to see what the content is and how it can continue to solve their problem. The next question that many people ask are there any best practices for writing subject lines that increase open rates? And this really goes to the idea that if you write a question as your subject line and they can see themselves in that question as having that pain point, they're going to be more likely to open it. Now, you want your open rate to be anywhere from 1 to 8% is on the high side. Some of you may have lower open rates. And I will tell you, you want to make sure that you're doing resends for those emails. So within your email software, you should be able to send a second email to the people that have not opened the first email. And this is a simple thing where you're going to then change up your subject line in order to try to get those people that didn't open the first time. And this is where you can start to play with the pain points that you're hitting on, the questions that you are asking, so that you can change it up a little bit in order to get those people that didn't open the first time.
Hey there, guys. My name is Melanie from Mostly Under Control, and I am a member of Jenny's Influencer Entrepreneurs Insiders membership. I've been a part of it since 2017, and over these 6 years, I've taken full advantage of the weekly trainings that Jenny offers and the monthly group coaching. The group coaching is probably my favorite part of the membership. Jenny has taught me so many things for my business. She helped me niche down and write and teach about what I wanted so that I wouldn't burn out. In addition to what she teaches, the networking I've done with other members has been invaluable. I recommend her membership to all of my online business owner friends because it is worth every single penny.
So, another question I often get asked is, how do I avoid sounding too promotional or salesy in my subject lines? And this is where I would not recommend for you to use the words free or get one, buy one, anything like where it sounds like it's going to be a sales email. You want to make sure that when you are doing a sales email, it still goes back to the pain point that you are solving. So if I am going to write a sales email that is going to promote my insiders program, I might put into the subject line, struggling with chasing your tail, or shiny object syndrome got you. Things that are going to, people will identify themselves within the subject line so that they are going to want to open it and find the problem so that they see themselves in that subject line. Now, the last question I often get asked is, how can I test different subject lines to see which one performs best? This is going to be based upon the email software that you use. So if you're using ConvertKit, MailChimp, any other email software will give you the opportunity to be able to do A/B testing when it comes to your subject lines. And you're going to want to look for that within your software. But that's where you're going to do it. And all the A/B testing does is it's going to allow you to put in 2 subject lines, and it's going to send out those subject lines to a percentage of your email list, and see which one wins or starts to get opened the most. And then once it's been sent out to that certain percentage of your list, it looks to see which one was the winner, and then it'll change it so that is the subject line that gets sent out to the rest of your list. Now, it's going to depend upon each software what percentage of your list gets it, but just for math purposes, let's say that they're going to send it to 20% of your list with the 2 different, so 10% is going to get one subject line, 10% gets the other. They then look to see which one was opened more, and then they will send that winning subject line to the rest of your list, which would be the 80% that is left over. Now, with A/B testing, you can also then do a resend after the email has been sent out to be able to get the people that didn't open to open now moving forward. So this is going to be something that you can take a look at within your software that you are using. Every software that it is out there will have tutorials on how to use all of the pieces. It will also depend upon the software as far as potentially the tier or what you are paying for. If you have certain abilities to do A/B testing where it's going to allow you to see which email performs better. Now, if your software and your tier does not allow you to do A/B testing, I would start looking at your emails over the month that you sent, and look to see what the open rates are looking like. If your open rates are pretty consistent and they're about the same topics or hitting about on the same pain points, then you could very well be on point. But if you're seeing that there's a certain dip in some of your emails, or there's even an increase in your open rate, then I would be taking a look and analyzing, what am I doing differently in those subject lines? How can I continue to model that in other subject lines when I'm writing my emails in the future? You always want to make sure that you are taking a look at your data so that you are data driven in what you are doing within your business. All right, y'all, I appreciate you all so much for listening in. If you haven't left a rating and review, I would appreciate it if you did so. You can just go into your podcasting app and leave a quick rating and a couple sentences telling me what your biggest takeaways were from this episode. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you all next time.